Every achievement starts with belief, not proof. Belief is the foundation of every great success story, the invisible force that fuels the journey before results appear. Proof comes after effort, but belief comes before action. Every dream that ever became reality was first imagined, trusted, and built upon unwavering self-belief. The greatest innovators, leaders, and achievers in history weren't handed evidence that their visions would work. They simply believed, and that belief gave birth to action, persistence, and courage. Think about it. Belief is what separates those who try from those who triumph. It's easy to believe once you see results, once others start clapping for you, once the world validates your worth. But real power lies in believing when no one sees your potential, when there's no applause, no recognition, and no proof that your effort will pay off. That's when belief becomes a decision, not a reaction. It's in those quiet, uncertain moments that greatness is born. Self-belief turns doubt into drive. Doubt is natural. Every dreamer faces it. It whispers, "What if you fail?" or "What if you're not good enough?" But those who believe in themselves use doubt as motivation instead of surrender. They let it push them to prepare more, to train harder, to stay consistent. Instead of letting fear freeze them, they let it fuel them. The truth is, self-belief doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you don't let fear decide your future. You use every doubt as a challenge, proof that you're growing, that you're stepping outside your comfort zone. When you truly believe in yourself, something powerful happens. Your energy changes. You begin to carry yourself differently, with purpose, with confidence, with quiet strength. And that energy is contagious. People start believing in you not because of what you've already achieved, but because of the way you carry your belief. Your conviction becomes visible in your words, your actions, your consistency. Confidence isn't loud, it's steady. It's the calm in the chaos that tells the world, "I know who I am and where I'm going." You don't need validation. You need conviction. The world will not always cheer for you. Sometimes it will doubt you, criticize you, or even try to pull you down. That's why external validation can't be your fuel. It's temporary, inconsistent, and fragile. If your confidence depends on others, it disappears the moment their opinions change. But conviction lasts. Conviction is the voice inside that says, "I'm capable," even when everyone else says you're not. It's the fire that keeps burning when others walk away. The truth is, validation is comforting, but conviction is transforming. Validation waits for approval. Conviction creates progress. When you act with conviction, you no longer chase people's opinions. You attract respect through your results. You stop asking, "Do they believe in me?" and start declaring, "I believe in myself enough to try again." That's the mindset of every unstoppable person. They understand that self-belief is not arrogance, it's trust in one's potential, even before it's proven. Every day you're faced with a choice, to believe in your excuses or to believe in your strength. The moment you choose belief, you open doors that doubt would have kept shut, because belief gives you permission to start. And once you start, momentum builds. Every small step forward strengthens your confidence, and soon that confidence turns into competence. You start achieving things you once thought were impossible, not because the world changed, but because your mindset did. Belief is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about knowing you can handle whatever isn't. It's not about ignoring challenges. It's about trusting your ability to overcome them. That trust makes you relentless. It keeps you moving when others stop, growing when others give up, and fighting when others surrender. Self-belief gives you resilience, the power to stand tall after every fall and to keep walking when the path seems endless. And remember this, your self-belief sets the standard for how others treat you. If you doubt yourself, people sense it. If you shrink, they overlook you. But when you stand firm in your worth, the world begins to take notice. People mirror the energy you project. So, if you want others to believe in your dream, start by believing in it yourself, completely, unapologetically, and consistently. Because belief is magnetic, it pulls opportunities, people, and success toward you. So, even when there's no proof yet, believe. When the results are delayed, believe. When others don't understand your vision, still believe. Because your belief is the seed that grows into proof. The world may not see it yet, but the moment you decide to trust yourself fully, you've already taken the first step toward becoming unstoppable. The loudest enemy you'll face is your own negative voice. It's not the criticism from others, not the rejections, and not the failures that hurt the most. It's the quiet whisper inside your head that tells you you're not enough. That inner critic can be more destructive than any outside obstacle because it knows your fears, your insecurities, and your weaknesses. It uses them against you, making you doubt your worth and question your ability. It's that voice that says, "What if I fail?" Or, "I'm not smart enough," or, "Someone else can do it better." And when you start believing that voice, you begin to limit yourself before the world even has a chance to. The truth is, everyone has that inner critic, even the most successful people do. The difference is that they've learned not to let it lead their life. They've learned to recognize it, not as truth, but as fear in disguise. That voice doesn't want to protect you, it wants to keep you comfortable. It convinces you to play small because small feels safe. But safety doesn't build greatness. Growth doesn't come from silence or self-doubt. It comes from challenging that voice every single day. When that voice says, "I can't," replace it with, "I'll try." Those two words, "I'll try," may seem small, but they carry power. They shift your energy from defeat to determination. "I'll try" is an act of courage. It's a statement of willingness. It doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees effort. And effort is what transforms impossible dreams into achievable goals. The moment you say, "I'll try," you open the door to growth, learning, and confidence. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's built every time you take action despite fear. Each time you try, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. And every small success becomes evidence that your inner critic was wrong. That's how you reprogram your mind, not through wishful thinking, but through consistent action. Replace hesitation with movement, and self-doubt begins to fade. Self-belief isn't arrogance, it's self-respect in action. There's a big difference between ego and belief. Ego shouts, "I'm better than everyone else." Belief says, "I'm capable and I'm willing to work for what I want." Arrogance demands validation from others, but self-belief is quiet confidence that comes from within. It doesn't seek attention, it seeks progress. It's knowing your worth without needing to prove it constantly. When you respect yourself enough to believe in your potential, you stop settling for less. You stop accepting toxic relationships, limiting opportunities, or unfair treatment, not because you think you're superior, but because you know you deserve better. That's what self-respect does. It sets boundaries and raises standards. It tells the world, "I value myself enough not to shrink for your comfort." Self-belief also means giving yourself permission to grow, to fail, and to learn. You stop judging yourself for not being perfect, and you start appreciating your progress. You stop comparing your journey to others and realize that your path is uniquely yours. The loudest enemy inside your head loses power when you start listening to a stronger voice, the one that says, "I can figure this out." And that's the voice you need to nurture, the voice of encouragement, the voice of resilience, the voice that reminds you of your past victories, no matter how small, and tells you that you're capable of more. Every time your negative thoughts speak, answer them with truth. When they say, "You're not good enough," remind yourself, "I'm improving every day." When they say, "You're not ready," tell them, "No one ever is, but I'm starting anyway." That's how you regain control over your mind. Because at the end of the day, your success is not determined by what others say about you, but by what you say to yourself. Your inner dialogue shapes your reality. If you constantly feed your mind with negativity, you'll live a life full of hesitation. But if you train your thoughts to focus on possibility, you'll start seeing opportunities where others see walls. Silencing your negative voice doesn't happen overnight. It takes awareness, discipline, and patience. You'll have moments of doubt, that's human. But the key is not to let those moments define you. Let them remind you that growth is happening. You're learning to lead yourself, to motivate yourself, to stand strong even when your mind tries to pull you back into old patterns. So whenever that loud, discouraging voice rises inside you, don't run from it. Face it, challenge it, replace it with words of power and progress. You don't have to silence it completely, you just have to speak louder than it. Because once you learn to master your inner voice, The world outside no longer has the power to stop you. Fear will always exist, but unstoppable people use it as motivation, not limitation. Fear is not your enemy, it's a natural response, a signal that you're stepping outside your comfort zone and into something meaningful. Every time you feel afraid, it's proof that you're about to grow. The problem isn't fear itself, it's how you respond to it. Most people let fear paralyze them. They overthink, hesitate, and wait for the right moment, which rarely comes. But those who rise, those who lead, those who achieve greatness, they feel fear just as deeply, yet they act anyway. They've learned that fear can either be fuel or a fence. It can push you forward or trap you in place. The choice is yours. When you shift your mindset and begin to see fear as a guide instead of an obstacle, everything changes. Fear often points directly toward what matters most. It reveals your next challenge, your next lesson, your next opportunity for growth. The dreams that scare you are usually the ones that will transform you. That's why unstoppable people don't wait to feel fearless. They use fear as energy. They channel that nervous energy into preparation, passion, and persistence. Fear sharpens their focus, keeps them alert, and reminds them that they're alive and chasing something worth their effort. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear, it means moving forward despite it. The most courageous people in history were not fearless. They were simply brave enough to act while afraid. Courage is not about being immune to fear. It's about refusing to let fear dictate your choices. It's standing tall when your knees are shaking, speaking up when your voice trembles, and taking a leap when your mind is full of doubt. It's doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel ready. The truth is, if you wait until you're no longer afraid, you'll wait forever. Every new step in life, whether it's starting a business, chasing a dream, or expressing your true self, will bring fear with it. But courage grows each time you take that step anyway. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. With each act of bravery, fear loses a little bit of its power over you. The situations that once terrified you become manageable, and eventually they become normal. That's how growth happens, through repeated exposure to discomfort. Each time you face fear, you expand your power and control. Every challenge you confront gives you a new level of confidence. The more you do what scares you, the more capable you realize you are. And once you've proven to yourself that you can handle fear, life opens up in incredible ways. You begin to trust yourself more deeply, not because the world becomes easier, but because you become stronger. Fear stops being a stop sign and starts being a signal that you're heading in the right direction. Think about every major success story. Behind it is someone who faced their fears and kept going. They failed, they doubted, they stumbled, but they didn't stop. They understood that fear is part of progress. Every great artist, athlete, and leader has felt it. The difference is they didn't let it define them. They learned to act even with uncertainty hanging over their head. They realized that bravery isn't something you wait to feel. It's something you practice until it becomes a part of who you are. The moment you face fear, you take your power back. Because fear feeds on avoidance. The more you run from it, the bigger it becomes. But the moment you confront it, it starts to shrink. It loses its grip because it thrives in the shadows, in silence, hesitation, and self-doubt. Once you bring it into the light by taking action, it weakens. You start to realize that most of what you feared wasn't as bad as your mind made it seem. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of rejection, all of them lose their strength once you experience them and realize you can survive. That's the beauty of facing fear. It transforms you. Every time you push through it, your self-image changes. You stop seeing yourself as fragile and start seeing yourself as powerful. You begin to trust your instincts, your ability to adapt, your capacity to rise after every fall. That's what unstoppable people understand. Fear is not a wall, it's a doorway. And on the other side of that doorway lies your greatest potential. So when fear appears, don't run. Listen to it. Let it remind you that you're doing something that matters. Use it as a compass pointing toward growth. You can't control when fear shows up, but you can control how you respond to it. You can turn it into fuel, into determination, into focus, into courage, because the truth is, The more you face fear, the less it owns you. Every time you move forward despite it, you're not just chasing your goals, you're reclaiming your power, one brave step at a time. Success is built one consistent action at a time. It's not the result of a single breakthrough moment, nor is it a reward reserved for the lucky few. It's the outcome of small, disciplined actions repeated day after day, often without applause, recognition, or instant results. The truth is, real success doesn't come in bursts of inspiration. It comes through the quiet power of persistence. Every small effort you make, every habit you build, and every step you take forward, no matter how insignificant it feels, compounds over time. The people who achieve extraordinary things aren't necessarily more talented, they're more consistent. They show up when it's easy and when it's not. They keep pushing even when the results aren't visible yet. The path to success is often slow and unglamorous. There are days when motivation fades, when progress seems invisible, and when your mind whispers, it's not working. But that's where consistency separates the dreamers from the achievers. It's easy to stay motivated when things are going well, but true strength is shown when you keep moving forward in silence, when no one is watching, when no one is cheering, and when it feels like your effort isn't making a difference. But it is. Every single small effort counts. Each step builds momentum, each repetition strengthens your foundation, and each decision to keep going creates a ripple that eventually becomes success. Self-belief keeps you going even when progress feels invisible. There will be moments when nothing seems to be changing, when your goals feel distant, your efforts unnoticed, and your energy drained. It's in those moments that doubt tries to take control. It tells you that you're wasting your time, that you're not moving fast enough, that maybe you should quit. But self-belief is the anchor that keeps you grounded through that storm. It's the quiet confidence that reminds you, I'm not there yet, but I'm getting closer. Belief gives you patience when results are slow and strength when the process feels endless. The truth is, progress often hides in plain sight. Growth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it's invisible. You may not see the results today, but something inside you is changing. Your discipline is getting stronger, your mindset sharper, your resilience deeper. Every day you stay committed, you're building invisible layers of strength that will one day become visible success. But only those who trust the process, who believe even without evidence, ever get to see that day. Self-belief bridges the gap between effort and achievement. It reminds you that the work you're doing now will pay off. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the next step. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting until they have the entire plan figured out before they begin. They want certainty, clarity, and guarantees before they act. But life doesn't work that way. The truth is, no one ever has it all figured out from the start. The people who succeed are the ones who begin before they're ready, who take the first step, trusting that the next one will reveal itself along the way. Every great journey starts with one decision to move forward, even if the destination feels far away. You don't need to know how it will all work out. You just need to know that it will, if you keep moving. Taking small, steady steps builds trust in yourself and in the process. The path may twist, the climb may get steep, and obstacles may appear, but each step forward, no matter how uncertain, brings you closer to where you want to be. Success isn't about giant leaps, it's about daily progress. It's about showing up when it's hard, doing the work when no one notices, and believing that every step matters. When you focus too much on the end goal, the journey can feel overwhelming. But when you focus on just the next step, it becomes manageable. That's how mountains are climbed, one step at a time. You may not be able to see the summit yet, but that doesn't mean it isn't there. Every time you take a step, you rise higher, even if the view doesn't change immediately. The staircase is built as you climb it. One step reveals the next, and before you know it, you're farther than you ever imagined. So stay consistent. Keep believing even when results hide from view. Focus on what you can do today, not the hundreds of steps that lie ahead. Trust that your daily effort is laying the bricks of your future success. Because the truth is, success doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually, quietly, and steadily. One small step, one consistent action, one moment of belief at a time. Don't rely on external approval, it fades quickly. The praise, the recognition, the validation from others, it feels good for a moment, but it never lasts. External approval is like a spark. It lights you up for an instant, but it cannot keep your fire burning. If your confidence depends on how others see you, you'll constantly be chasing their opinions. One compliment will lift you, one criticism will break you, and you'll spend your life adjusting yourself to please everyone else. The truth is, when you live for approval, you give away your power. You allow people's perceptions to define your worth, and that's a dangerous way to live because people's opinions are inconsistent. They change with moods, trends, and circumstances. The reality is, no matter how good you are, not everyone will see your value. Some will doubt you, some will misunderstand you, and some will simply overlook you. That's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of their perspective. The moment you understand that, you free yourself. You stop living for likes, applause, and validation. You stop bending who you are just to fit someone else's expectations. True freedom comes when you no longer need permission to be yourself. You start making decisions based on your values, not other people's approval. That's when you begin to live authentically, and authenticity always attracts the right kind of respect, the kind that doesn't fade. True confidence comes from inner validation and purpose. It's born from knowing who you are and what you stand for. It's quiet, steady, and unshakable because it doesn't depend on outside forces. When your confidence is internal, it doesn't crumble when people criticize you. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone because you already know your worth. That's the kind of confidence that carries you through tough times, the kind that doesn't need noise, only purpose. Inner validation means you find satisfaction in effort, not just in results. You take pride in your growth, your discipline, your resilience. You recognize your own progress even if no one else notices. It's about waking up every day and saying, I'm proud of who I'm becoming. That's powerful because it makes you independent of the world's approval. It gives you the strength to stay consistent, to keep improving, and to trust your path even when no one else understands it. Purpose is what fuels that confidence. When you know why you're doing something, you stop worrying about who's watching. Purpose keeps you focused when others doubt you. It gives meaning to your struggle and value to your sacrifices. When you have a clear sense of purpose, you stop competing with others. You start competing with yourself. You no longer chase recognition, you chase growth. And that's when real confidence takes root, when you live with direction, not distraction. When you learn to motivate yourself, you become unstoppable, no matter what comes your way. External motivation is helpful, but it's temporary. It's easy to feel inspired when someone encourages you, but what happens when no one's there? What happens when life gets heavy, when setbacks come, when the world is silent? That's where self-motivation becomes your greatest weapon. It's the fire you build within yourself, the drive that doesn't depend on circumstances. Self-motivation is built through discipline and self-trust. It's the decision to keep going even when you don't feel like it. It's showing up when no one notices, pushing through when it's hard, and reminding yourself that every step counts. You stop waiting for inspiration and start creating it. You learn to talk to yourself with encouragement instead of doubt. You become your own coach, your own supporter, your own believer. That's the mindset of unstoppable people. They don't wait for motivation to appear. They build it daily through action. And when you master that, nothing can hold you back. Because the truth is, external circumstances will always change. People will come and go, support will rise and fall, and the world will shift its opinions. But if your motivation comes from within, you'll always have control. You'll rise after every fall because your strength doesn't depend on anyone else. You'll keep going through rejection, through failure, through loneliness, because you've learned that your worth is not up for debate. When you can inspire yourself, you no longer chase energy, you create it. You no longer look for approval, you give it to yourself. You no longer seek validation, you live with conviction. And in that state, you become truly unstoppable because the person who needs nothing from the outside world to keep moving forward is the one the world can't stop. Every great journey begins with belief, not in luck, not in circumstance, but in oneself. Self-belief is the heartbeat of success, the invisible engine that drives ordinary people to do extraordinary things. It's the quiet force that whispers, "Keep going," when everything else tells you to quit. When you truly believe in yourself, you don't just dream, you act. You don't just hope, you build. And in that process, you become unstoppable. Every achievement, no matter how small or grand, starts with belief before proof. The world tells you to wait until you're ready, until you have evidence that your efforts will pay off. But belief works the other way around. It demands that you trust yourself before results appear. That trust fuels the courage to take the first step. And once you begin, momentum builds. Each action you take, no matter how uncertain, becomes a statement, "I believe I can." It's that belief that transforms doubt into drive, turning hesitation into determination. But the journey isn't smooth. The loudest voice you'll battle is often the one inside your head, the inner critic that feeds your fears and magnifies your insecurities. It whispers that you're not good enough, not ready, not capable. Yet, every time you answer that voice with action, you weaken its hold. Replace "I can't" with "I'll try," and watch how your confidence grows. Because confidence isn't born from success, it's built from persistence. It's built every time you stand back up, every time you push forward when no one believes in you, not even yourself. Self-belief doesn't make you arrogant, it makes you aware of your worth. It's not about thinking you're better than others. It's about recognizing that you are capable, deserving, and worthy of your dreams. It's self-respect in motion. When you believe in yourself, you stop chasing approval. You stop waiting for the world to validate your value. Because the truth is, external approval fades as quickly as it comes. The same people who cheer for you today might doubt you tomorrow. But if your confidence is built on inner validation, it cannot be taken away. Fear, too, will always be a companion on your journey. But unstoppable people know that fear isn't the enemy. It's energy waiting to be redirected. They understand that courage doesn't mean the absence of fear, it means moving forward despite it. Every time you face fear, you grow stronger. You expand your comfort zone, and in doing so, you expand your power. Fear loses its control the moment you face it. And once you've confronted it enough times, you realize that most of what you feared wasn't real. It was only resistance to growth. Success isn't built overnight, it's built one consistent action at a time. It's the result of showing up every day, even on the days when you feel invisible, when progress seems non-existent, when your faith wavers. It's about trusting the process and taking one step at a time. You don't have to see the entire staircase, just the next step. That small step, repeated daily, becomes unstoppable momentum. Over time, those steps lead to transformation. And through it all, your self-belief is what keeps you grounded. It's what reminds you that your efforts matter even when no one sees them, because growth is often silent. Success doesn't announce itself. It builds quietly in the background, waiting for the moment to reveal itself. So stay patient. Trust that every effort, every discipline, every act of courage is shaping the person you're meant to become. Don't rely on the world to keep you motivated. Learn to motivate yourself. External inspiration can light the spark, but internal drive keeps the fire alive. When you can inspire yourself, you take control of your destiny. You stop waiting for someone to tell you that you can do it. You decide for yourself that you will. That's when you become unstoppable, when your motivation, your faith, and your purpose come from within. The truth is, life will test your belief again and again. You'll face setbacks, rejection, and moments of deep doubt. But if your foundation is built on self-belief, nothing can break you. You'll bend, but you won't shatter. You'll fall, but you'll rise stronger. Because belief gives you resilience, and resilience gives you power. Becoming unstoppable isn't about being fearless, flawless, or perfect. It's about being relentless, about believing in yourself even when no one else does. It's about trusting that every challenge is shaping your strength, every delay is refining your patience, and every failure is redirecting you towards something greater. So believe before the world believes. Act before the path is clear. And trust yourself, even when proof is nowhere in sight. Because once you discover the power of self-belief, nothing can truly stop you. You'll no longer be driven by fear, approval, or circumstance. You'll be driven by purpose. And that's when you'll realize the most powerful force in the world isn't luck or talent, it's belief. Unshakable, unstoppable belief in yourself.